This is Adventure for Life. I'm Joel. It is day 8 of the 50th anniversary of the 74 Cutlass Cross Country Odyssey. And I am at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Unfortunately, I don't think they have a National Cutlass Museum, but I guess I ought to look for that. Anyway, so I expected this morning to go eat at a diners, drive-ins, and dives place around. I spent the night in Lexington last night, Lexington, Kentucky, and I expected to spend the night there. There's the Cutlass. Get a little dirty. But it didn't work out because there were two places that old Guy Fieri had been before in Lexington. Both of them are now permanently closed. There was one in a town nearby called Frankfort. It is permanently closed. And there was one more in a town called Versailles, and it's spelled just like the palace in France. And it didn't open. It was a sandwich shop. It didn't open till 11 o'clock, and I needed to get on my way. So anyway, I skipped, so that's life. Anyway, you see that they got Corvette only parking here, and these are some people that obviously own Corvettes. I looked for the Cutlass only parking but couldn't find it, so I had to take this parking spot instead. Not a lot of cars here right now. It is I just changed from Eastern to Central Time, so I think this place opens at 9 and it's about 9:30 right now in the morning. So we're gonna see again. Not 100% sure they will let me video inside. I hope they do. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, that's kind of cool. They got a little, I don't know if you can see that little Corvette on a statue. In fact, I'm gonna walk over there because that looks kind of neat. And you can see this, that is a mock-up of the original Corvette they were gonna build in 1953. I don't know that they built Corvettes in 53. I'm almost sure they did in 54. But there's an old kind of memorial. Oh, it's a memorial to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and the Coast Guard. Okay, well, I'll video some more when I get a little closer. So a couple signs out front. Obviously lots of Corvette clubs around the U.S. and the one in Springfield was celebrating their 55th year, and the one in Houston, its 70th year, 1953 to 2023. Lots of stuff around here. I don't know if you can see those benches in the distance, but there's a walkway over there, and all of it's got all kinds of bricks in it that were sponsored by this person or that person. And then the same thing with those benches there. I don't know if you guys know this story. I came here probably 15 years ago, whatever. And I don't know if you guys know this story, but the Corvette Museum, you know, I don't know how long it's been around, but anyway, sometime after I was here 15 years ago, there was a sinkhole that came right underneath the, sorry about that. There was a sinkhole, that's that guy right there. Anyhow, that popped up right underneath the Corvette Museum, and I mean, there were Corvettes that went in the hole. So anyway, they've rebuilt the whole thing, and so we'll see what it's like. I can't distinguish the original building. I assume most of it's still here, but anyway, again, hopefully they'll let me video inside. Okay, so I'm obviously not going to take a picture of every Corvette in here. This is definitely new from when I was here before. This is a delivery area for people that are buying new Corvettes. So those are obviously new Corvettes. This, I'm not exactly sure why that's in here, although it says Congratulations to Eric Chisholm, proud owner of a 77. I don't know if he just bought it or what the deal is, but anyway, here's a bunch of new Vettes, some of them running, and I guess this is where you take delivery of a Vette if you buy it. Pretty cool. Okay, I'm not inside the museum yet, so again, don't know if I can video in there or not, but they'll let me out here. Okay, so there was a Corvette manufactured in 1953. I think that was a test year though, but anyway, this is pretty cool. They did a cutaway of what it was like inside. Chassis number 003. Anyway, that's neat. Oh, by the way, I can video in the museum, obviously, because I'm doing it. It says here that this was just a test car, and they had some issues, and so they, took it apart or whatever, and then it was reassembled later. But anyhow, 150 horsepower, 2-speed transmission, 14 miles a gallon, 2,800 pounds, $3,500, which I would have thought was a bunch of money in 1953. Okay, so I stand corrected. This sign here says, and this is a 1953 Corvette, it says 300 of them were made in 1953, and every one of them was white with a red interior. So that's interesting, and they were trying to mimic the sports cars in Europe after World War II, and this is what GM came up with. Again, I'm not going to video every Corvette in this museum, but there's some wacky stories. And some guy bought this. It's a 1954, drove it for 5 years, decided he didn't want to drive it anymore, built a building and entombed this thing inside the building. So basically built a brick and concrete structure around it with instructions that later, after he died, it was to be removed from the tomb. Anyway, his daughter took it out, kept it for a little while, and then finally gave it to the Corvette Museum. Crazy things people do. Okay, so here's a modified 57 Vette made for racing. And here's a concept version of a Vette. So different than what you're looking for. They're calling this the 69 Manta Ray Corvette, and if you're very familiar with Corvettes, you've heard of the Mako Shark 2, which I won't be surprised if I don't see one of those that had a similar look to this, as I remember. Well, there you go. On the screen, it's talking about the Mako Shark right there. I don't know what the story on this is, but it looks like you can actually bring your car here and get it worked on, because you can't see him, but over there, leaning over the engine bay of that blue Corvette, is some guy working on it. So I'm sure it ain't cheap, but anyhow, I don't know if you can bring every Corvette here. There's another employee coming in, but they're doing some kind of maintenance on Vettes here. Okay, I'm in what's called the Sky Dome, and you can see up there. Unfortunately, it's closed off for some reason, and I'm going to pull this curtain back just for a second, and you'll be able to see that there's some Vettes behind here. Anyway, this is the structure that had the sinkhole in it, and it's been repaired. In fact, this whole section here was a mock-up and the storytelling of the sinkhole, and I didn't catch the exact year. It doesn't matter. We'll call it roughly 10 years ago, and it turned out to basically be an advertisement for the insurance company Chubb, who was insuring this building and the contents or whatever. But that's fine. I mean, they said the building was closed for about a year and a half. 8 Corvettes went in to the hole, and this is their premier location here. And I remember being in here when I came here before. I'll try to get a shot of this from the outside. Anyway, that's the story of the sinkhole. And again, 8 cars went in. One of them came out, they pulled out, and it started on the first turn, so it wasn't damaged very badly at all. And apparently the insurance company went ahead and paid to have all the cars fixed too. So some of them are probably behind that curtain right now, but for whatever reason they're doing some kind of redesign in there and it's closed. So you see the date there, February 12th of 2014, so a little less than 10 years ago, 5:39 a.m. They actually have a video, because they've got cameras inside this building for security purposes. They actually have a video of the cars falling in, and I saw a time-lapsed version of that, so that was kind of cool. So right after I just took that last video, they've got some other cars in here, obviously not Corvettes. I've never seen anything like that other car. Here's some purple, I don't know, is that a Mercury or something? I don't know, excuse me. Some drag car. Here's a Batmobile. Now, when I went to that Barrett-Jackson auction earlier this year, they were selling a Batmobile there. So it's possible this is the same one, although it doesn't remind me exactly of the one I saw before. Here's a heavily modified Corvette and a heavily modified paddy wagon and a heavily modified popcorn wagon. So anyhow, got other stuff besides the vets here. Oh, this thing is called the Turbo Shark. Well, you can see that on the support back behind it, so that's cool. So there's somebody driving out their Corvette out of the delivery area. So I've finished with the museum now, and this guy was pulling out, so there he is driving down the hallway. Enjoy the ride. It's more than a car, it's a Corvette. That's what it says right above it. Anyway, here's somebody else, at least firing one up. Raising the top. That's pretty cool. I don't know if they're all no, they're not all convertibles, but there you get to see the convertible in operation. So that's pretty cool. This guy just showing off a little bit. Anyway, I'm headed out. All right, on my way out, I saw this simulator too. So they've got a simulator that you can sign up for and participate in. I don't know if you have to pay for it or not, but it looks like it's free because these are kids doing it. But anyhow, it looked like fun. One other thing, this was $18 or whatever, so I was surprised at how cheap it was. I'm going to step out now and see if I can see the original, or get the original building on the video. Again, you got all these people here that have, Corvette enthusiasts also, and bought a brick to help support either the building or the rebuilding of this place. So I'm trying to see, they call that the Sky Dome. And so I would think I would be able to see that up above everything else. There's the National Corvette Museum. And as I remember when we came before, the Sky Dome was, the main feature or attraction. Okay, so there, if you look up there, you can see a little red peak. And I'm guessing that's the top of it. I'll see if I can drive over there and get a little bit better shot. So there's the Sky Dome. Obviously they're doing some kind of work on it. Seems like everywhere you go, they're doing some kind of work on something. Anyway, that's the original structure. That's where I was standing inside of earlier and filmed up to the top, and the red cone we saw a second ago. Anyway, that's the end of the Corvette Museum. There is a Corvette, classic Corvette dealership around the corner, and I think I may pull in there and see what they got, and maybe video a few things. So there's the museum from the distance. I never was a huge Corvette guy, like every other guy. You know, you dream about having a Vette when you're a kid. But anyway, beautiful cars. Enjoyed being there. It was fun. So interestingly, across the street they have Art's Corvette, which I believe is a classic car dealership, so to speak. So I'm going to go in there. I remember coming in here when I was here 15 years ago. Here's a guy who apparently has just taken delivery of his Vette, which is beautiful. Nice red color, 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, it's got some writing on the window, so I think that is. Obviously, he doesn't just have Vettes here. They've got some other great cars, so this will be like going to the Barrett-Jackson and the Mecum auction again. So the person who works here said that a lot of these cars are for sale, a lot of them aren't. But here's one. This is crazy. 1957 Bel Air, 6,000 original miles, original paint job. That's just crazy. Anyway, he's got all kinds of cars in here. So again, I'm not going to videotape all of them. This is, again, for me, it's like going to Barrett-Jackson and Mecum. It's basically a car museum where he does a few sales. Okay, I'm in the showroom of this Art's Corvette's place, and this is a car you don't see very often. It's a Hudson. I don't know what year it is, but anyhow, pretty cool. There we go again. Art's Corvettes. This is basically his private collection, which is, with a few cars for sale. Cost $10 to get in. Not complaining about that, but it's pretty mediocre. Of course, I just went to Mecum at Barrett-Jackson, so a little bit hard to be impressed after seeing those two things. Well, there's a nice truck, old '53 Chevy, $27,000, and somebody already bought it. Anyway, this will be the end of today, so this is the end of day 8 of the 74 Cutlass 50th anniversary cross country Odyssey Extravaganza. There's an old Volkswagen that looks like it's in awful good shape. Anyway, I'm headed to Branson. Like I said, unfortunately, my diners, drive-ins, and dives experience didn't work out this morning. So came to the Corvette Museum and then came across here. But I'm headed to Branson, and I'll video some there from tomorrow. See you tomorrow.